Hi, I'm Crystal, and I'm here today to talk about shopping for adhesive. So I did my annual review of adhesive prices, not because I need more glue or adhesive, but I like spreadsheets. And so what can I say? I spent many years as a professional accountant, and it just makes a mark. Crafters have preferences, as they should. So instead of showing my math and recommending a particular product, size, store, I just want to talk about shopping strategy, because there's some tips that you can apply. And I think that you know these things, but maybe you're not putting it together in just this way. So hopefully this will be helpful. So my first tip is that general products from general retailers are less expensive than specialty products from specialty retailers. So this is the lesson of planning a wedding, right? Wedding cakes cost more than birthday cake, even if they are similar in design or complexity. So any adhesive sold on the shelf at Walmart is going to be a more attractive price than one that is sold at Michael's. That is just how it works. The smaller the audience, the larger the price. Now, personally, I love Elmer's Glue All Extra Strong. It is marketed to a very large audience, and therefore it costs less than a specialty product like Barely Arts. Another good example is foam tape. Scotch Mounting Tape and similar options that you see at the hardware store are the least expensive foam tape because they are marketed to such a broad audience. Now, the specialty products sometimes have specialty features. So if you really like your foam tape pre-cut into strips, or if you want it to be black, or if you want it to be extra thick or something like that, then the specialty products really bring something to the table. But if you're looking at it from a price point, then the general products are always going to be less. The second tip is not to overlook store brands. So they're not always exactly the same, but it's worth checking those out at least once. So I found that the Crafter Square liquid glue from Dollar Tree and the school glue from any brand is a little too runny for my taste personally, but the double-sided tear tape from Crafter Square is fine. I really didn't see any functional difference between that and the name brand, which is Score Tape. The Papery Shop from Hobby Lobby, that's their store brand, also has a pretty good price on tear tape. Third, once you find your favorite, it is worth the time to compare prices. So after you've tried several kinds of liquid glue or several types of tape runner or whatever, it's just worth checking all the retailers that offer that product. So back in the day, my mother used to keep a grocery notebook. So she would go to the 3 stores that were near us with a list of the 20 things that she bought all the time and just make a note of the prices so that she knew which place had the cheapest, fill in the blank. If you're more of an online shopper, then I would go to a search engine and hit that shopping tab to see if there's some retailers you haven't thought of. So I'm always a little bit surprised. I like DuckDuckGo as a browser. Sometimes I hit that shopping tab and I find there's some place that it just never occurred to me. The next tip, fourth tip, is to watch the price of the dispenser. So if you are looking at liquid glue, it sometimes comes bundled with a tip kit. Those are also sold separately. So you want to check the price, whether buying the bundle actually saves you money or not, because sometimes the bundle is not a bargain. But really, the dispenser tip is about tape runners. So if you look at tape runners and you compare those to tear tape, tape runners always cost more because you are paying for the dispenser. So it is always, without exception, worth buying a tape runner that is refillable, because otherwise you're throwing like $1 or $1.50 in the trash with that disposable dispenser every time you use one up. So just do the math on that one and figure out how much that dispenser is costing you. So the next tip is that greater volume usually is less price per unit. So most of the time, the larger container of liquid glue or the multi-pack of the tape runner refills or a larger roll of foam tape is going to cost less per foot or per ounce than the smaller counterparts, but it's worth checking. So Elmer's Glue All, my example of the liquid glue that I really like, this week at Kroger just happens to be $1.29 for 4 ounces, and that is a deal. But if I wasn't keeping an eye on those prices, I wouldn't know that. Um, if you like glue sticks, I'll use the example of Jot glue sticks at Dollar Tree. So their usual price of 4 sticks for $1.25 is not especially good. I mean, it's okay. But the back to school 8-pack, if you can find one of those, is a really good price per ounce. So I hope that those tips are useful to you and it puts it in a little different perspective. And I hope you have happy shopping and happy crafting. Thanks for joining me today.